Well, hello. We are back here with our weekly topic of the week. We are here, me and Professor Florencio Nocetti, who is sitting on the other side of this Zoom conversation. We are already 6 months doing this weekly review. And here is with us Professor Nocetti, please.
Hello, Mookie. We are exploring Tenenbaum's philosophy, his line of thought through this ongoing series of videos, his disillusionism, his misalgic theory. And we are trying now to understand not only his concepts from an abstract point of view, but also to try to put them in motion and analyzing things as they happen. Sort of, not as journalists, of course, we are not that, but from a philosophical standpoint, sort of going with the flow of news as they come our way. We are in late December, second half of December 2020, amidst the ongoing pandemic of COVID-19. And in this particular video, we are going to pay attention to a new trend, I'd say all over the Western world nowadays, that has to do with some sort of fatigue, with some sort of tiredness expressed by many different people in many different circumstances, with all the cares and all the considerations that have to do with preventing contagion during the pandemic. And we are going to try to take a look at this alleged fatigue, tiredness from a philosophical, from a disillusionist point of view, and see what happens.
Well, yes. First of all, let me, I want to look into the term you use and the articles used as fatigue. The article we're talking about is, which is interesting because of the time it comes out. The article talks again about a certain percentage of people who were very adherent to each one of the instructions government gave, using the mask and washing their hands and whatever thing that they're supposed to keep to 6 feet away, blah 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 blah, all that part. And those people who were not negationists, as they were a group at the beginning that they say there was the virus or just the flu. We're talking about them. We're talking about people who were well behaved, and suddenly they decide to give up on all the measures, the sanitary measures that are needed to lower or avoid the contagion. So these people that did that suddenly are doing it now. Now that we are on the verge of a mass vaccination, a mass campaign of vaccination all over the world. Yes, the vaccination already began here in the US, in England, and it's already beginning somewhere else. And there is the Pfizer vaccine and the Chinese vaccine and the Russian vaccine. Everybody is into the vaccine. So you expect people saying, okay, just a few more months, period. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work. I mean, we still don't, people's behavior still is, I don't care, I don't want to use it. But is it? First of all, let me take one thing away and let me remind everybody. We normally, what we do almost all day is to sleepwalk. Again, this is not sleepwalk like sleepwalking, but we called it sleepwalking, and I want to remind our people because it's like sleeping, yes? It has a lot of things in common with sleeping. You don't remember what happened when you sleepwalk. You don't remember when you're asleep. You don't know you are sleepwalking. Because if you know that you are sleepwalking, if you are aware, the moment you are aware of sleepwalking or any other awareness, you are not sleepwalking. You're sleepwalking when you are running a habit, when you put in your pants, when you put in the kettle on to have coffee, when you say hello to somebody. I mean, there is a list of little habits that all of them together are a sleepwalk. What is the percentage of the day we sleepwalk? Almost all day. There is studies are talking about, and I'm going to use that number, but it's of course not accurate enough, 20 minutes in aggregate during all our waking hours. Of course, when we sleep, we don't sleepwalk. We are in a much deeper state. So when we sleepwalk, we come out of sleepwalking, we come in of sleepwalking. But sleepwalking is the norm. Is like is like the Newton's law of attraction. Yes, you are there. Gravity makes you walk on the street. Yes, of course you can jump once in a while, but basically even people who train on jumping most of the time are their feet are on the ground. So this is what happens. And here there is another important number. During those 20 minutes, and as I say, they are in aggregate, 5 seconds here, a minute there. Yes, it's not all together, the 20 minutes. During those 20 minutes, you use 10 times more. I repeat the number, 10 times more energy than when you sleepwalk in your brain. I'm talking about this one. So what we're talking about is sleepwalking is necessary. And when you cannot sleepwalk, you suffer. You suffer because when you're not sleepwalking, you're open to suffering. Yeah, you suffer because you cannot sleepwalk. It's like insomnia. When you have insomnia, when you cannot sleep, it's not an enjoyable situation. It's not, wow, great, I have insomnia. I mean, people don't enjoy insomnia. They are tired. There is a fatigue after a while. So here the word fatigue may be right, but from a sleepwalking condition, not fatigue from carrying bags or sugar bags over your head or I don't know, walking, doing marathons or whatever they do. No, it's because you cannot sleepwalk. It's like you cannot sleep. You're tired. You are fatigued. It's difficult. And why they cannot sleepwalk? The answer is for several reasons that they cannot sleepwalk. One of them is the issue that they have suffering problems that are not allow them to sleepwalk. The same like not sleeping. You see, sometimes you cannot sleep because you have a problem you cannot solve. Something terrible is happening and you cannot sleep. You lose sleep. You even say, I lost sleep over this. So you lose sleep. You lose sleepwalking over this. The same. So you are suffering. And because there are other sufferings that are more important than the one you have, at some point, you cannot deal with both of them. Here comes the interesting part. We have an attention span of 20 kilobytes per second. About, it may be 30, it may be 40, but this is it's a minute amount compared to what there is outside. So you have to focus yourself very much in what you do. So you can deal with one thing at a time, maybe two, not more. And when you're dealing, you cannot deal with now the mask, now not the mask. Now, yes, in the restaurant. What do you think, Florencio, of all this explanation and detail?
No, I understand what you were saying just at this very last bit that I think explains the previous sort of dissertation, which is we need to sleepwalk at least from an energy consuming, an energy saving point of view. If we are to be awake, if we are to be all the time making decisions and being vigilant about different possibilities in life, that's untenable. And that might explain these reports of fatigue, which, of course, you're right, is not physical fatigue, but has to do with a tiredness of being alert, of being awake, so to speak, for a very long period of time. Still, I guess the question stands, why would people that, as you said in the beginning, were vigilant, were careful, now seem, after months of carefulness, seem to become more careless? And in this sense, I wanted to ask you about something you have described in the past in different videos in this same channel, which is a sort of prioritizing system that allows us to take care of this suffering at this moment and not another suffering that might be still be there. What I want to ask is, do you think new sufferings have appeared that have displaced fear of contagion from the priority level it had at the beginning of the pandemic?
Well, let me first of all, this takes me first of all to the mechanics. I'll answer that. using the mechanics of how do I choose this sleepwalking instead of the other one. The answer is really in our genes, and really in our historical. What were we 100,000 years ago? 100,000 years ago, we were monkeys, or like monkeys. Yes, like apes. We were living in groups. We were part of a.
In troops, yes, in packs.
A troop like a troop of monkeys. Yes, so we were part of a troop. And why the troop works? Because you imitate, you do what the other monkey does. You have the saying in English: monkey sees, monkey does. This is where and that's excellent, because we don't have to learn each other of us putting the leg in where the snake lives to see if that you're bitten and you shouldn't put the leg there again. You see that of the other doing it, he's shouting, you don't do it also. That's it, you learn. Learning is done by imitation. You imitate the others, you listen to what others say, or others shout, they don't say because they're monkeys, yes, and you imitate. That is the mechanics, how this happens, yes? Okay, that mechanics means that, remember, I told you have 20 kilobytes per second. So the animal itself has priorities, okay? If an animal is now eating grass, yes, grassing, I think you say, no, it's eating.
I think,
yes. you eating grass, and a predator comes in. Oh, he'll run away. He'll stop eating, because priorities in the genes, in the program that the animal is having, its first is predator, run away. No eating, no drinking, no sex, no nothing. And then it goes down, yes, to what is he now? Thirsty. Probably he will first drink and then eat, if he can, yes, if he has the possibility. So animals do that priorities, and so do we. So we will deal with the priority depending on how much we suffer. It's a question of how much you, the animal in question, is suffering from what. So here comes the problem. For an animal, all the any deer that the lion, I don't know if there are deers and lions living together, impalas.
Somewhere.
An impala, yes. Impalas will be running, which is a small deer, will run away when there is a lion. Every impala with every lion, okay? There is no difference. We are different. We may have priorities on other things. Why? Because we have awareness. So for me, it's more important to sing an anthem, even if they're shooting. I don't care. It's more important for me. That would be very unusual. But you can go down and you will see priorities being different for different people. Now, this group of people, and here I have to say, not everybody has fatigue. There's a certain group of people, and that certain group of people respond to imitation. That's what they do. They do it because others they do it, but it is because of priorities. They prefer not to be in a situation in which they have to invent and think about something, and they prefer to imitate and suffer. But as soon as that possibility to get away, the predator stops running after you, and you can eat, you will eat. As soon as you can take off that masks your voice. You know, on this point, I think I told you, when people will take off their masks at the end of this process, a couple of years from now, or whatever it takes, it will take. So they will take out the mask, and everybody will be talking at a higher note, because all of us shouting, so people can understand it through the mask. And this is just one of the cases of things. So you go in with a mask, and suddenly you see somebody who doesn't use a mask. And if he wants to ask him, why don't you use a mask? He will say, I didn't use a mask. I never used a mask. I never got sick, which is, of course, a totally crazy argument, because you also didn't die till today. That means you're never going to die. It makes absolutely no sense. But he's in the process of imitating, and just something that has some kind of veil, kind of logic. We talked about it. At some point, you remember the little jumps in logic. Those jumps of logic are enough for this guy now to be without a mask. truly, Florencio, statistically is saying, not everybody who goes without a mask gets sick. That's the truth. In fact, the percentage is much smaller. You get, in some places, 10 or 15% people who got COVID. The other 85 didn't, and not all of them wore a mask.
Maybe at the crossroads then between different types of suffering and different priorities and this human nature that consists in imitating each other's behavior, I ask you about the time at which this fatigue comes. Do you think there's a correlation there between the end of the year, the festivities, Christmas, New Year's Eve, all the rituals that Western countries have at this particular period in time, and the sense of utter and complete exhaustion with the norms and the precautions that everyone seems to be feeling? Do you think there's something there?
Oh, much more than something there. First of all, this is a combination of people, the superstitious people. If I don't be with my family during the New Year, I have somebody in my family who I used to say, somebody I met in my family said, I have to be every year at the New Year with all my family. If not, we'll have bad luck next year. Very simple. There is different combinations of this. If I'm not there, it's terrible. What kind of Christmas? I have behaved very well all year round. In Christmas, people do that. People get drunk New Year, and they don't get drunk the rest of the year. It's like carnival. Yes, people having going crazy for 3 days, just because that day they can. If you destroy that to them, they have nowhere to look forward to. Because what people say, people have 3 or 4 events in their lives, and they go around Christmas year one, then have Easter, yes, or something like that. Then have my birthday and the summer. Sometimes they superimpose to each other, yes, and that's about it. And when you take away those milestones, it's like life has no boundaries. Things start moving, and it's very hard to sleepwalk. People sleepwalk towards Christmas. Sleepwalk during Christmas. But then they chase the sleepwalking Christmas, and they drink themselves to death, and they eat until they explode, and then for the whole week, and then they comes New Year, and then get totally drunk and totally smashed, and that's it. And then they begin a diet and go to the gym. They go all on the 2nd of January, gyms are full of people. Sometimes it's the 3rd of January, depending on your... It's true. It's the numbers of the gym, they go up after the New Year. So people use that. They need to sleepwalk. Sleepwalk is done with milestones. When you sleepwalk during the day, you get off your bed, the same bed, you go to the same bathroom, you brush the same way that is with the same brush. You will put in a certain order your clothes, depending on the day of the week you are, and then you're going to go down the elevator, and you will say hello to the other person you meet, and then to another one that probably you always meet, and then you will walk to the bus station or the metro station, and you will do exactly the same. And those are milestones. If they take out your milestones, your time milestones or your place milestone, things get complicated. You cannot sleepwalk. And if you cannot sleepwalk enough time, you get insomnia or insomnia-like. This is the reason. So people say, I don't care. They don't even say that. They just imitate somebody, and they move away from one sleepwalk, trying to rekindle, like an old horizon, yes, an old sleepwalk. They have nostalgia. They're truly nostalgic of their old sleepwalk. They don't want to go to their bar that they used to go, if they are owners of a little bar, to go and change the bar because there is COVID, and make it, today they will make it all pink. No, he wants to go to the moment it's like he was standing, I think I told that simile. They are standing in front of when people go out to run on the street,
yes,
and then they get to a traffic light, and they get standing there. You see, they're running on the same spot, waiting for the light to change. That's what they're doing. Why? Because they cannot work in a different way. They can't. They could. And finally, let me remind you, there is almost no family that does not have one person who is either without a job or either lost a business or they are out of their savings. People are out of their savings, and now they're in the middle of the winter because 90% of the world population now are in the winter, and you know everything is dark, and they have Christmas now. The last thing they have, it's darkness alone. It doesn't matter. They cannot think the vaccine. And let me remind you that even there are people today who are taking off the mask because they're going to get vaccinated. Not now, in the future. Not only that the vaccine they have to wait 30 days, which of course, if they couldn't count 14 days, you remember, nobody could go to the biggest problem to stay at home 14 days. Imagine 30 days in which you have to, or 45 days between the vaccines. So people are behaving already, some of them taking the vaccine in account in the wrong way. Yes, and there are people who it doesn't matter. They already gave up. They gave up. The answer is gave up. They don't think there is no virus. They are not anti-vax. They are nothing. They are doing what 99% of the population does: imitation.
We shall see, I guess, where these trends lead us in the near future. We'll keep track of them.
I'm sure we will.
Together. Thank you.
See you next week.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.